Yeah, hi Kamal. Let's start.
Uh, yeah, hi, Arun. So today we have a topic, DevOps, where I will explain like what is DevOps and how we are, implementing in our day-to-day life of work. And basically, DevOps is a culture where that improves our collaboration collaboration and the communication between our Salesforce life cycle software life cycle and like software and the IT operations. So it is making our life easy by um, so by improving the whole process and the culture. So basically we have different phases, and by that it is making our life easy. So I would say like there is a automation and automation monitoring and different phases are there. That could be like plan, code, build and test, deploy, and monitor feedback, and then security. So these are the different phases of DevOps where we can implement our these processes in our day-to-day activities of software lifecycle. Okay, so in plan, like we used to plan the requirements and the time limits of the projects what we are gonna implement into the projects. And like there are some activities we have to set up with our stakeholders, with the developers or architects, where they uh, this these people like stakeholder used to define their requirements, and we have to timeline those things accordingly. So we have some tools uh, like Zira, where we can create all those user stories, and we can use Teams to set up a meeting for them to collaborate. So is it clear to you? Sounds okay so
Yeah,
far?
yeah. So far
Yeah.
that's good introduction. Let's look into why we have to use DevOps and how we will use it.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, DevOps is making our day-to-day life easy and make a good integration between uh, software development with IT operations. So if I'm saying like it is making a good integration, and the automation or automated this deployment or build testing. So through this it is making it ease for everyone, and altogether it is making a delivery of the project is so quick and fast. Because earlier in the in a traditional way of deployment, we were using this SLDS software development life cycle. So where we were having like different kind of software development models. So this as development life cycle was the one of the a way of doing a project. But nowadays we are having agile methodology, where we have to make all those requirement in a sprints. Or sprints means it could be in the it could be planned for a week, or maybe in 2 weeks we have to build and develop that requirement and deploy it into the production environment, or maybe to the targeted environment. So so nowadays we are making it so frequent or fast delivery with a reliable methodology. We are doing those things nowadays. So that's how DevOps helping us to make this thing happen, to make this process easy and integrated, and to adopt. So as I have told you, like we have a plan, code, build, and then test and deploy. So every phase will have their own purpose, and they will have their own activities and tools, different tools they have to adopt for these processes. So can I continue with this, explaining you next step or its
Yeah,
phases?
yeah. Let's go and see different stages of DevOps.
Yeah. So let's say first step, as I have told you, plan is the first phase of DevOps, where we have to define our requirements with the stakeholders we will take. So this is the purpose of this phase, like to grab all the information and design, and to note down all those requirement as a user stories, and maybe as a CRs, we can say, if we have any change request. So we can use that phase as a we call this phase as a planning phase. And next phase will be like this could be this is code phase. So where developers will come into the picture, and they will write a code as per the requirement, and there they will do their development and unit testing, and then they will will be ready to push those changes uh, to the for the build. They will push to the repository, you know. So that could be a that is the second phase of DevOps. And in third phase, we used to say build. We will build all those code which was developed by the developer. So here in the build phase, all the code will be compiled, you know, and here some unit testing and some uh, this build will return you as a create a version control uh, numbers, I would say. Like every build will create a new version of that code on the commit. Okay, so that is the one thing here. And it will give you a file, that could be jar file, which can be provided to deploy to the next phase. So this is the build phase, where we will get the code, and it will compiled, and do some unit testing. So I'm just repeating it again to clarify. And then it will give you some version control identity to that code, so that it will be easy to recognize that code has a different, so we can compare. So those things, and it will then, and the end, it will give you the jar file, which can be pushed to the targeted environment. So next phase is like a test phase, where we can set up a requirement of passing the benchmark of passing the putting the benchmark for passing that code. Yeah, that is a perfect code. We can deploy now. We can able to deploy those to the targeted environments. So like it could be like automated testing. Like we can use some tools like Selenium, JMeter. So those are the tools we can use here as a to test it. Like some performance testing we can implement here, like how it will perform in the performance testing. Uh, yeah. And the next phase would be like deploy. So here, as I've told you, like we will have this phase as the deployment of the file we have received from the build phase and which has been passed in the test phase. So now this file of code or change code will be deployed to the targeted environment. It could be like your SIT environment or UAT environment or maybe production environment. Okay, so here it can be deployed with some different the tools like Ansible or like maybe yeah, there are like a lot of tools are there. So I know about Ansible, where it uses some containers orchestrations. Uh, uh, let me uh, pronounce it clearly. Orchestration from the by using Kubernetes. So Kubernetes basically a container which I need to learn about it, but that is a containers to deploy those changes to the uh, environments. And after that, like we will have some phases of feedback. So next phase will be a yeah, feedback or maybe monitoring. We can say yeah, that would be a next phase would be a monitoring, where we will see if any issue come up while deployment. So in that phase we will create a logs of those issues, like if something need to be fixed for the next time. So we will hold those things here in the logs in the phase of monitoring. And monitor phase. So the next phase will be like feedback. Here, yeah, maybe I'm going so fast. And so, yeah. So feedback is the phase where, like we are looking at the issues we have faced while deployment in the monitor phase. So those feedback could be, provided by some these stakeholders or product owners. They can give some feedbacks like we have faced this challenge in the we have seen this challenge so far in the deployment, so we have to fix this. So it is the very important phase, where we are in the improving things. We can improve our whole process of DevOps. So we are not gonna always perfect on the first time in the DevOps. So we are in a continuous process of improving in this through this feedback phase. And last phase is like security phase, where security phase is a phase where we are making it and we are ensuring like every phrase is safe from, mm, uh, like it is safe from, I don't know, like maybe hacking or something. But yeah, there is some one
Yeah,
more phrase
yeah,
which, yeah,
yeah. It's
that I
just
need to
one
learn.
vulnerabilities in images, right? Some older version of libraries. So we have
Yeah,
to scan for security.
yeah, yeah. So that I need to learn more about it for the security phase. So
Okay.
yeah,
Let's review your phases. So you said this is a plan phase, right?
yeah.
So in when you do planning and what exactly we will do in the planning.
So in the planning, as I have said, we are setting up some meetings where with the stakeholders, architects, and the high level meetings where we are
Okay.
gathering the
Okay.
requirements.
But yeah, when we talk about DevOps, this planning is not with the high level people. It is just with your developers.
Okay.
Okay, what task you are going to work today, what task you are going to, because when you create a task, for example, you have a website and your
Mm-hmm.
developer is having a task where you are going to say, okay, in your website you need to add a advertisement message or say happy Diwali.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that that task as a plan will go to the next stage to code.
Okay.
Okay, so here there this planning board is required for product owners and sprint or scrum masters. Okay, it's
Yeah.
not only for planning, it also for tracking. For
Tracking
example, if
operations.
this task is going for code, which is exactly the development, when
Mm-hmm.
they do the development, and if they block, for example, this person need some access to another system and that is blocked. Okay,
Yeah.
so every day they will have a stand up where, okay, this is the block, you put this task in pending, let's work on the another task.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so so we usually call this as a issue tracker as well. So
Mm-hmm.
your code is going to deploy from here to build to test to deploy or in test, you see a bug. Now
Yeah.
who will fix this bug? Okay, I saw there is a bug in testing, this cannot go to production. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
developer have to fix this bug, and
Yeah.
you cannot ask developer to like you do this and fix it. It can be a big job. So
Mm-hmm.
a tester will add a task in the planning board.
Yeah. That will be added to the planning board.
So
That
then
is.
from the plan, it would be picked by the developer, and then he will when he pick, it goes for the coding. And whatever task they have completed, it will go to the completed state.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
so we call this as Kanban board.
Kanban board. Yeah.
So basically, it will track the status of all tasks, backlogs, what are the tasks are in back. When bug this tester is adding a task, it will go to backlogs.
Correct.
And then when the task is picked by a developer, it is called in progress. When the task is completed, the status will move to completed. Okay, so the board will have the call. We can define the workflow how we want, but say this is the three status where this task go from backlog to in progress to complete. Okay,
Correct. Yeah.
or we can have one more status called block where it is not completed, it will be in a block so that it, the task which developer is not working should not be in progress.
Correct.
So for this, we there is a lot of tools like Tilio or Jira or a lot of tools are there basically.
Yeah.
So one of the tool Jira we are using for this plan.
I don't just be on hold.
Yeah.
A minute.
So now you understood the plan state, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Let's now tell me what is this code.
So code phase is a phase where developers start writing a code which was assigned in the planning phase. Okay, based on their, like, uh, every user story has their own story points, and then the user developer needs to write a code or maybe develop those user story in the environments.
Okay. So
Yeah,
now from Jira, you go to your Git.
yeah,
So it can be GitHub or GitLab, where
yeah,
you have to actually create a branch of it. So the code
branch.
will be in main.
Yeah,
Okay. So you main is the master copy.
correct.
Okay. We will discuss detailing later. From the main, you have to create a copy. You have to create a branch on this task. So you have a Jira. You have a Jira number. So a Jira number is 001 or
Mm,
009. So let's create a branch called 009, and you make your changes in the code for the task to complete. Then you merge back to main, which is called merge request, MR. Someone, your tech lead or team lead, will review the code and approve. You also know which task you are working on.
right.
You understood?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now tell what is build. What build is doing.
So in the build phase, like we are committing our code to the committing our code to the Git, and as you said, like some senior guy will review our code and approve merging. So where this unit testing and like some pipeline will be created where this unit testing and this versioning of that code will be created to make a file, a jar file, which will be able to deploy to the next environment.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
So correct. So when we make a merge request, when it is approved, the main will to create a build version.
Yeah.
Okay, so build is the package. Either it can be Docker build or jar build. So it will create build 002.
Hmm.
When there is another merge, it will create build 003. Another developer doing another merge, it will create 004. Okay, now
Yeah.
we need to this build version is important, that this particular 002 build is made from the merge request happened by this branch.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is versioning. Now the test phase also is when we do the build, it actually tests the code quality and everything. Then it will go to deploy. Then there is some test suite which will run it. So basically these three are connected: build, test, and deploy.
Deploy. Yeah.
Okay, so can you explain deploy once?
Yeah. So in the deployment phase, once everything is tested or completed as a benchmark, so this file will be able to will be ready to deploy to to the next environment.
Yeah. So deployment is just kind of once you are ready to put this into the server, then it deployment triggers and you automatically deploy the, if it build is a Docker image, that image will be deployed into the container. Okay.
So
Then
what
you
do you
will.
mean? What
Hmm.
do you mean by image here?
So when you are doing build is basically packaging. Okay.
Hmm,
So when you package, initially we were having this jar file.
correct.
Okay, to run, now we are in container environment. Okay,
Hmm,
so container environment, we need to again pack this jar with one more package we use, that is called Docker image. Okay,
okay.
so
Hmm,
to do this jar build, we will have something called form.xml in your application. Okay,
okay.
form.xml. But
Form
to do this
dom
form,
dom dot
POM,
dom
form.xml.
pom. Okay.
To do this Docker build, we will have Docker file.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, what the Docker file will, it will do the jar, and again on top of jar, it will convert that as an image. Okay, this image can be deployed into container.
Okay.
So if you want to deploy a container, you need a Docker build. The command for building this is Docker build. Okay, Docker build will use Docker file, and then it will build. Inside the Docker file, you will have the exact location of your jar file. So it will
Java.
take your jar file and put it into the Docker and create an image which can be deployed.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so now,
we are deploying the images to the environments.
correct.
Okay.
So now you have plan, code, build, test, deploy, and monitor.
Yeah.
Okay, so all this, are good. Let's connect in next call and discuss detailedly with the tools.
Okay.